Hello my dear friends and welcome to my channel. My name is Barbara and today we're going to be looking at the IC in your natal chart, which is also the fourth house. So basically the IC in your natal chart is going to tell you who you are behind closed doors when you're in your home, when you're in the safety of your own home, the comfort of your own home, but also it's going to give us insight as to what kind of home you grew up in, okay? So that's what's really interesting about it. It's going to give us insight as to what kind of parents you may have had or maybe even what kind of childhood you may have had. So let's get started. I'm going to start with Gemini IC. So fourth house, if you have it in the sign of Gemini, basically in your home when you were growing up, either one or both of your parents were immature, okay? So what tends to happen with Gemini placements is that unfortunately the two parents end up either being immature or for whatever reason the child is kind of left to fend for themselves. So a lot of the time the Gemini fourth house person, okay, or in general Gemini placements actually, that child has to basically figure out who they are on their own, almost kind of like raise themselves, okay? So a lot of the time they have very immature parents. Now, another thing with the Gemini IC is that when you were growing up, maybe in your home, emotions weren't something that were discussed, okay? So it wasn't something that was discussed, and again, leaving the child to be kind of scattered. Now, how you are with the Gemini IC when you're in your own private home is you guys are chatty, you guys are sociable, you guys want to have a lot of friends. When you're in your home, maybe you're going to get a lot of ideas, a lot of downloads, all these sorts of things, because Gemini does deal with the mind, but it is more so the day-to-day mind. The thing is with the Gemini energy, it might be really challenging for them to focus. So that could be something that you guys work on, because the Gemini IC, especially when you're in your home, you're going to be the type who's on your computer, has 50 tabs open. You guys maybe started watching a show, got completely distracted, researching one of the characters, and then you guys are like looking up food recipes, like this type of energy, okay? So you guys can always balance this energy by just knowing how you are and maybe sticking to one thing and actually completing that project, because that's the biggest thing that Gemini tends to struggle with. Another thing for the Gemini IC within the home when you guys were growing up, maybe there was an energy of, again, not only your emotions not being accepted, but it's almost like you weren't actually truly accepted for who you are as a person is really what that is, okay? So you guys struggle with this later on in life where it's like you're breaking out of some sort of shell and you always might feel like you're people pleasing, because again, there's some sort of energy where it was like your parents didn't see you fully. So that is the IC in Gemini, the fourth house in Gemini. Next, we have the IC, the fourth house in the sign of Cancer. So it can go two ways, just like any sign. We have a light side and a shadow side. So for you guys, when you were growing up in your home, maybe you guys were very nurtured or maybe you lacked nurturing. Most of the time with the Cancerian placements there is a sense of abandonment for them, especially emotional abandonment. Also with the Cancerian energy, there's always some sort of connection with the mother. So when you were growing up, if you have your IC or fourth house in the sign of Cancer, there was something where either the mother was absent, maybe there was some sort of alcoholism that was taking place in the home, okay? If it's not the mother, maybe it could have been the father. You guys can reverse the roles, however they resonate. But the thing is, like the Cancer child, traditionally in astrology, it's like they still have a deep love for the mother, regardless of whether the mother was present or absent, okay? So that's what tends to happen. If it didn't go in this direction, maybe it was a very nurturing home, it could have been a very healthy environment. Maybe your emotions were very celebrated and accepted and you were able to communicate your feelings. So it can go into either of these two extremes. Now you in your own home, when you're in private, what tends to happen for you guys is you guys love being at home. This is a natural placement for the sign of Cancer. So you guys love to be at home. You guys love to have a nice home, a cozy home. You guys really add like a feminine touch to the home. Like that saying, the feminine touch is going to create a house into a home. Doesn't matter whether you're male or female, okay? Even if you're male, you might be leaning more toward the feminine energy within the home, okay? This is all about the home. So you guys like spending time at home. You guys like being at home. You guys like to feel your emotions when you're at home. You guys feel most like yourselves when you're at home. If your IC is in the sign of Leo or your fourth house is in the sign of Leo, basically what this means, when you were growing up, there was some sort of ego struggle with the father, okay? If there was no father, then it would have been the mother. Whoever was the dominant masculine figure in the household, there is an ego battle with this person. This character could have been very domineering, very dominating, very egotistical, okay? Very like authoritative, okay? So there's some sort of issue growing up with the father. It could have also been that the father did not accept your creativity when you were growing up, okay? Didn't allow you to express yourself creatively. But as usual, we have both ways that the sign could have gone. So it could have gone in the complete positive direction where you were very accepted for being creative. You were very much allowed to be in tune with your inner child. It was a home where you were allowed to be expressive and express yourself creatively. So it really depends which direction it went in. Now for you, how you are in your home, okay, because the fourth house also deals with this, is that when you're at home, you love to express yourself creatively. You want to be seen. You want to be like the man or the woman of the house, okay? This is kind of the energy. You want to be the head of the house. You want to be recognized. It's almost like a king or queen on their throne. This is how you feel when you're in your home. This is really the thing with the Leo energy. Also, you guys can be very creative, very funny, very quirky when you're at home, okay? You guys can get really in tune like with your inner child when you're behind closed doors, very much making jokes, being silly, maybe even being creative in terms of doing like arts and crafts. It can really go in a lot of directions with the Leo, IC, or the fourth house Leo. If you have your IC or fourth house in the sign of Virgo, when you were growing up, you probably came from a home that was very much about perfection. There's a huge focus on perfectionism. Maybe one or both of your parents were highly critical of you, okay? Which then in turn led you to have an inner voice where you don't feel good enough. There's an energy of that going on within the Virgo home, okay? The Virgo fourth house. Also, because Virgo deals with the other aspect of the mind because they are ruled by Mercury, it could have been a highly intellectualized home where you guys didn't really get to focus on your feelings, or your feelings weren't accepted, or they were always kind of like either criticized or just had to be intellectualized by a parent, okay? So there could be a repression of emotions for people who have the fourth house Virgo, which then in turn might make you guys doubt your own emotions, okay? So this could have taken place within the home. Now, when you guys are in private, so when you guys are in your own personal homes, you guys could also be critical of your home, or you guys can want your home to be perfect. You guys can get a lot of ideas. So now when you have your Virgo fourth house or the IC in the sign of Virgo, when you guys are at home, you guys might be highly critical, okay, of people maybe who are living with you. You guys might have like a particular way that everything's organized. You guys are probably going to be very clean, okay? Everything's gonna have its particular spot. If anybody touches anything and it kind of gets like misplaced, you guys might kind of be like, where did my item go? Also, when you guys are at home, you might start to intellectualize things. You might get a lot of ideas when you're at home. So you're not going to spend a lot of time feeling feelings in your home, in your private space. You're going to be more so about the ideas and about the higher mind. Also, it deals with being of service. So maybe if you are living with someone or several people, or maybe you have a lot of roommates, however it might manifest, maybe when you guys are at home, you guys might feel like you're taking on all the tasks, where it's kind of like you might be with another person or roommates where they might not be clean, but you want the place to be clean. So you might kind of feel like everything kind of falls on you, because that's the thing with the Virgo energy. A lot of the time, because they feel of service to other people without realizing, they end up kind of burning themselves out for the other person. So this could also take place within your home. Alternatively, you could live on your own and you might not have any of these issues. But when you're on your own, you're really going to go into that hypercritical mind or the intellectual mind where you're just thinking, getting a lot of ideas. If you have your fourth house or the IC in the sign of Libra, this means that you grew up in a home where it was either balanced, okay? So it goes two ways. It can either go on the light side or the shadow side. Either it was a balanced home, harmonious, everything was great, but what tends to happen most of the time with the Libra placements, they're looking for that, but they get the opposite. So if you have the Libra IC, growing up, you might have had a home where you were the one that was constantly keeping the peace. Maybe there was some sort of disharmony going on in the home when you were growing up, and you were always the one who was the peacekeeper, making everything peaceful, making everything calm, okay, balancing everything out. Also, if you have a Libra IC when you were growing up, maybe you could have had one or both of your parents who were more so in the artistic energy, where they were interested in making the home look nice, okay? Interior design, a very beautiful interior, a beautiful home. There could have been a huge focus on that. Now for you, when you're on your own in your own home, you go into the Libra energy. So Libra always struggles with the duality. So whether you're living on your own or maybe you have a partner, maybe again, you're trying to keep the peace, okay? You want everything to stay peaceful. You want everything to stay harmonious in your home. You might also want to have a very nice, aesthetically pleasing home. When you're at home, you might be the type who wants to host dinner parties. You want to invite people into your home. That's what also tends to happen with the fourth house Libra. Libra is all about bringing people to them. So you guys might be very interested in creating an environment of this where you bring people into the home. If your IC or fourth house is in the sign of Scorpio, this means that when you were growing up, there were either some sort of secrets within the home, something where something wasn't being talked about or discussed, or there could have been addiction within the home. Maybe one or both of the parents, maybe there was like a hidden covert addiction. Now addiction is on a scale. Maybe just one of the parents was a workaholic and they were absent, okay? The Scorpio fourth house does tend to deal more so with the mother as well. So there could have been an emotionally absent or unavailable mother, okay, where you guys were looking to explore the depths of the emotions or maybe talk about things that are hidden, but things constantly kept being hidden from you when you were growing up. Also, it can deal with secrets within the whole family line, okay? So within the generational line, maybe you find it out and people aren't talking about it and you're kind of like, why is no one talking about this? Now, when you're in your home, you're going into the depths of the emotions. That's what takes place whenever you're in your home. You guys are exploring, you guys are looking at the shadows of yourselves, maybe of other people. Maybe you guys are thinking about why did that person do that and really, really reflecting and analyzing, okay? That's what Scorpio does. You're always looking for some sort of secret, to discover something, to find something new out. I'm even seeing maybe you guys are interested in like researching things online, looking people up, connecting the dots, okay? Finding those people on Facebook, like this type of stuff, okay? Scorpio energy, especially when you're in the home, you're like a full-blown detective. You guys will find everything out, whether it's being spoken about or not spoken about. If you have your IC or your fourth house in the sign of Sagittarius, when you were growing up, maybe one of your parents was abroad, okay, traveling abroad, or you could have gone abroad with your family. Maybe you guys moved around a lot. Maybe it was like a family where one of the parents was a diplomat and you guys kind of moved to different countries when you were growing up. Also, with the Sagittarius fourth house IC, what tends to happen is one of the parents can be distant within the home. Also, you could have grown up with the shadow of Sagittarius, which is maybe you had an overly religious home growing up, or if it wasn't religious, maybe there were some sort of belief systems that were very strict within the home. So now when you're at home with the fourth house in Sag, you might be interested in moving around. You might be interested in creating homes abroad, okay? Because Sagittarius wants to travel. Also with the Sagittarius fourth house, what tends to happen with them is later on in life, they tend to settle down, okay? Because they tend to go off on a quest, discover new things, meet new people, learn new languages, cultures, maybe even do master's, PhD, whatever it is, okay? It's all about learning. And then later on, they come back and they teach something. So that's what might have happened for you guys. You guys moved around, created a home everywhere you went, okay? Almost kind of like a nomadic lifestyle. If your IC or fourth house is in the sign of Capricorn, you probably grew up in a very traditional home, okay? It could have even been very strict. It was very rigid. There was a lot of structure in your home. Also with a Capricorn fourth house, what tends to happen is you could have grown up in a home where money was a huge focus. So whether there was a lot of money or whether there was no money, there was a huge focus on money and there was an absence of emotions, okay, within the home. So you might have not felt loved when you were growing up. Also, what could have taken place, it was like maybe one of the parents was absent working, okay, because that's what tends to happen with Capricorn. Capricorn's all about elevating the status, and a lot of the time Capricorn energy tends to struggle with finances early on, and then they tend to build toward that. So now when you guys are in your own home, okay, because fourth house also deals with how you guys are in private, you guys are all about working hard. You guys might have these dreams of, again, elevating your own status, creating a lot of money, creating a lot of abundance. A lot of your self-worth could be revolved around finances and acquiring assets and acquiring items. If you have your IC or your fourth house in the sign of Aquarius, growing up, it could have been a very unconventional home, okay? It could have been very different, outside of the norm. Whatever the norm is, you were completely outside of it. There could have also been rebellion within the home. So whether you rebelled against your parents or parent, okay, or maybe the parents rebelled against the child, okay, that's an interesting one. Another way this could have manifested is when you were growing up, maybe you guys were the black sheep within the family. So maybe you guys were the different one and you guys really weren't accepted within the home. But with the Aquarius IC or fourth house in the sign of Aquarius, there's always something different going on around the home where your home was just different than the people around you. So now in turn, how you guys are at home is completely different. Out of this world, unconventional. The Aquarius fourth house could be things like you guys live in a home where there's like 15 other people living in the house, things like this, like a communal type of living. Really anything that's outside of the norm is going to be the Aquarian energy. So whatever the norm is, literally anything that's different than that is how you guys are going to be at home. Also, when you guys are at home, you guys might get ideas for like future things, future trends. The Aquarius fourth house or your IC in Aquarius really feels like when they're at home, they get to just fully be themselves. They're quirky, strange, out of this world selves. If your IC or the fourth house is in the sign of Pisces, the home could have gone in two different directions, just like I've been saying for the rest of the signs. So it could have been a home that was very loving, unconditional, even to the point where you guys kind of felt smothered, okay, especially if it's the mother, where she kind of like just like gave you so much love and like you kind of felt like you needed to detach from the home, okay, maybe even at an early age. or it could have gone in the complete opposite direction where there was some sort of escapism that was surrounding the home, or even illusions around the home. So there could have been addiction within the home. Addiction is on its scale, so it's anything that deals with escapism. It could have been a home where maybe one or both of the parents were very much workaholics, and then you were left to be by yourself a lot of the time, which then in turn made you go a lot into your own imagination, okay? Because now when you guys are at home, you guys are all about the imagination, the different worlds, the different realms, almost to the point of escapism, okay? The Piscean energy is very much about the higher realms, the psychic realms, the different worlds, all these sorts of things, the dreams, the visions. So you guys might get a lot of these ideas when you're at home. Also, when you're at home, you guys might seek unconditional love, okay, in one way, shape, or form. So you guys want to bring that energy in. Another thing is you could have had one or both of your parents could have been an artist of some sort, okay? There could have been a huge focus on spirituality. Could have gone into the shadow aspect of it, where there was some sort of cult energy going on in the home. Really depends which direction it went in. If you have your IC or the fourth house in a sign of Aries, when you were growing up, you probably felt like you were left on your own a lot. You probably felt like you were very independent. You probably felt like you had to do everything for yourself when you were growing up. For whatever reason, the parents could have been absent. Also, there could have been a power struggle with the father when you were growing up. All of the fire signs, in one way, shape, or form, are subconsciously always trying to get the attention of the father. So maybe there was an absence of the father when you were growing up, or there could have been a father that was very much like, this is the way, it's my way or the highway, and you butt heads with that particular father figure. Also, for the fourth house IC in the sign of Aries is how you guys are when you guys are in your own homes. So when you guys are in your own homes, you might want to be the head of the house. You guys might want to be the ones that like make the decisions for everybody in the home. Also, Aries are starters, so you guys might get a lot of ideas when you're at home to start something new, start something fresh. You guys might even like do things yourselves around the home. So fixing things in the house, renovating things in the house, these types of things. Also, with the Aries fourth house energy, you guys might be starters in the sense where it's like you're interested in purchasing real estate, maybe even starting a business in real estate. It can manifest that way as well. If you have your IC or the fourth house in the sign of Taurus, when you were growing up, there was a huge focus on material wealth and material things. So this is whether you guys had it or not. Maybe you guys had it, but within the home, for whatever reason, the parents could have maybe used items against you, okay? There could have been petty energy where they were like, you can't have that, you didn't buy that, like these types of things. Or maybe there was an absence of it where the parents were overly focused on material things. So now in turn, you feel like you need to focus on material things yourself. Another thing within the home is you could have had two parents where they were building towards something together. The main thing with the Taurus fourth house is that there's always a focus on money, okay, for people who have the Taurus IC. So that's whether you guys had it or didn't have it growing up, okay, there's always going to be a focus on it, and then in turn, forcing you guys to focus on it yourselves. So now when you guys grow up in the home, you guys are looking for stability within the home. You guys might even want to have a very traditional home, very much in the sense where it's like there's order in the home. This is how we're doing. It's very structured, a structured schedule, these types of things. Also, you guys might be interested even in building your own home, okay? This is the thing with Taurus energy, because the fourth house IC can also deal with real estate as well. So you guys could be interested in building a home. The Taurus energy really are the builders. They want to have a nice home, maybe a big home. Again, it's all about material wealth and material gains. So you guys might want to have a home where you guys can really show off the hard work that you guys put in to actually acquire this home. So I'm going to wrap up this video here. I hope you guys did enjoy this little mini series on the IC fourth house through all of the signs. If you guys did, make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. You guys can let me know in the comments below as well. And I hope you all have a beautiful rest of the day.